Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yes, Kefahalik, brothers and sisters. This is Brother Talib from as well as AKA Crypto B-Boy in the social media platforms, speaking on crypto and finance and investment. But Brother Talib is my Muslim name, Talib Abdurrahim Pugh. My last name is Pugh. I'm originally from New York, and I'm doing a video here for a good brother, a close brother of mine who's also from New York, who asked me to do a video based on my hijrah when I first attempted to make hijrah to the Muslim lands. And first, initially, me and my family were trying to go to Yemen, Damaj, which was the main encampment village up in Aden, way up north of Yemen, and it was known for its knowledge-seeking, high-level learning of knowledge of Islam through the likes of a major scholar known as Sheikh Muqbil ibn Hadi al-Wa'adi, who was the original main scholar, and was also known to be one of the Kabir Lama scholars of our time, along with Sheikh Abdulaziz bin Baz, Sheikh Al Uthaymeen, Sheikh Rahmatullah Ilayk, for all of them, Sheikh Al Albani and the likes of them. And others that I haven't mentioned, of course, like Sheikh Fawzan Al Fawzan today, Rahim Hafithullah, who's still around with us. Alhamdulillah, may Allah preserve him. I mean, so he was well known. He was very, very studious in his time, and he taught a lot of students of knowledge, talib al-ilm, out there, and up there in that part of Yemen. So, but due to the situation at hand that was going on, me and my family had to detour in a sense. So, and that was before we even flew out, because the word got out that there was stuff going on there. And as we see today, unfortunately, make dua continuously for the people of Yemen, especially Ahlul Sunnah, those people who are upon the path of the Salaf Saleh, and striving to bring the haqq. Of course, I make dua for that the Shia over there as well, regular or layman Shia as well, that Allah guides them and set their fear straight, and makes it easier for them with the struggles that they have to go through. But any of them in Yemen, put it that way. Um, they were Houthis, as we heard today, as we still hear today, and they're in control of the land at this time, and they even, were the main people who laid siege to Damaj, and pretty much destroyed it after they forced the people out. Besides some of them that they killed, even some students of knowledge that had perished. But not get into the I can't say negative, but the sad and unfortunate happenings, but them just being real, and giving you clarity on what things go, how things go in the Muslim lands, as well as the good. There's bad. So those Houthis were there, and they were causing a problem. They weren't in control then. They had a Sunni government, because the Houthis are Shia, but there's of course there's sectarianism there, and strife, and civil strife. So that's what was going on, and the government that was in control at the time, before they was overthrown by the Houthi militant group, and then they put who they wanted to put in, that were also from the Shia background. So, but today that's what they have. But then they didn't, and they was struggling against them, and with their fight, and it was issues, that some particular issues of some tribal brothers or family members that were harmed by the government, and they one and tried to retaliate. So the borders were, to get to the point, the borders were shut down. They were closed. They weren't allowing flights in and flights out. So, and it was temporary, but at the time, me and my family, we were already ready to go. We were ready to leave America. So, and we were living in PA at the time, Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, and because I wasn't living in New York, of course, I'd been left New York, and I tried to move around just to get my family in safer areas and my children as they were coming up, and my wives had kids, and so I was there for them to look out for them as well, to make sure that they were safe because they were living with us, and I had two wives at the time, of course. But what happened? One was gonna go first because the other wasn't ready. She was actually even pregnant with my first child with her, and then so the one that was going was we were gonna go to. We decided to think about going to Egypt, and so Egypt became the actuality of our hijrah, to where we strive to go and make hijrah for. And now, Islamically, as far as some would say that some ulama scholars that speak that because there was no established at that time through getting residency and becoming a citizen or so forth, and like where you can live there on a long-term basis, and it's in writing, and it can be on your, as they say, the visas, because you have to have that put in your passport. Visas is what is given to you to allow you to be able to come into this country, whether it's tourism for temporary time, or you're going to try to become an expat and you're going to live there and reside there for several years even. You have to still have a visa unless you become a citizen, and then you have to take steps to get to do that. So with Egypt, it has, at that time it was different, and now it's different from what it was then, and it wasn't as easy as it is now. They were more open. There are more open a policy to be able to, an easy flowing policy, more convenient policy, to be able to become a resident, and then even become a citizen if that is a person's or the Muslim brother or sister's want, that are coming there to make hijrah. So I made the plans. Me and my wife, and the money we had to have, that had to be there, and then my other wife was gonna get prepared, but I was going there to take my first wife and bring her and settle her in, and that's what we did. So I flew in with her, baggages, and it was kind of of a struggle, because when you're bringing a lot of baggages and you're trying to bring loads of things that you want, that's your main personal things that you want to be able to have there and not leave it here or sell it, because that's what most people who first made hijrah from America that I know, especially brothers close to me and so forth, and sisters, that everybody had to sell their stuff, most of their furniture, the main big things in your home, wherever you live, whether it's an apartment or a house, wherever you live, you had to sell those things, because you could not take that abroad or take it over the airways with you on the plane, because the plane doesn't carry but only baggage. Certain things you can put in the baggage, and you can, and it has to be packed right and so forth like that. So, and then this weight, stuff goes by weight. So if you come over the weight, you got to pay for that, and then there's certain things they don't allow you to take. So, you have to know. And then at that time, it was past 9/11, of course. So there was rules on the, the traveling rules according to the Terrorist Act and all that type of stuff, and homeland security. So all that stuff created issues where you was not able to just take what you want, like and without feeling that without them feeling that this is not a problem flying over. So that was the issue. But then we finally got that done. We got there. Then there was the issue of when you land, you got to get to from where the airport is to the place. So people, they come out and they're very something else when it comes to wanting to get you to take their transportation. Like when I say people, meaning drivers or drivers, period. Whether they might even have a minivan, and it may not even be a taxi car or whatever. Sometimes taxi cars, if you don't have that much baggage, you can take a taxi car, and they might have a rack on top of their car, and they just throw the bags up there. They're very, one thing you got to understand, like with the Egyptians, they're very practical, sometimes a little bit not neglectful, but they just negligent. And in a sense, not negligent, that's the same word. But what's the word I'm trying to get? Uh nonchalant. There you go. And they might they don't think that they are, but you see it, and that's where the culture shock comes in. You see it as that they're being, not negligent with your things, but they're going in and just tossing it up there and not worrying about whether stuff can break in your bag. So you got to really talk to them, and hopefully how to speak to them in Arabic. But if you don't, then it's going to be a language barrier right there. So now you got to make gestures, or you got to tell them no, 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 no. Sometimes they do speak English. Now I learned that they've been speaking more English, and it depends on where you at. Because like if you go into Giza, I don't know if you're coming from Cairo, from the airports in Cairo, but I don't. I think there's an airport out near in Giza, if I'm correct. But that I never really knew about any airports out there, and that's something for you if you want to do your own due diligence to go further as far as Egypt, making the Hijrah to Egypt, learning all the different airports that you can land in the parts of Egypt that you wish to want to be in. But we landed in Cairo, right? So the new Cairo, whatever you want to call it. But the airport was nice. They had a newer version of it, and then it was the older part of it, and the new one we came out of. But they were still doing construction to build more, to add additional work on the airport. So if you wanted to land there, then you was going into Cairo area, even if it was New Cairo, what have you. So we had to get a car, and we were trying to go out to uh, uh, um, it's like a basic, like, I don't know the word how you say it. I mean, I do know that I can't remember the word, but it's the area, but it's like you have apartment complexes. Yeah, it's like an apartment complex, but it's like it's almost like compound. That's what I wanted to try to bring, like a compound type of resident, which is fenced up, and you have beautiful property, nice stylish property, beautiful masjids in it, and it goes around like a couple of miles of acres of land, where all these structures are, as far as the residency. And then you have souks, which are shopping areas, markets that people can go into, and it's the Egyptian cultural way of how they were, how their markets are, with a little splash of modernized style, like Morocco, and different mixtures and blends and stuff. But it's nice, And then the area I'm talking about is called Rahab, well known in New Cairo by many who don't know New Cairo besides regular Cairo, uh, or the old Cairo, if you want to say. Which we would say it's downtown, and in the area where the Magama is at, or the area the main place where you get your visas and you do your documentations and all that stuff, which is the Ikama area, well, the area where the Ikama is the building for that. But you got them now. They got them in different areas, a lot more, and that you can obtain your visas and do your document stuff and whatever you have to do to get your papers legitimized, so you can maneuver around with legally with your passport and be correct, or even go to the process of becoming a resident and then citizenship, if, like I said earlier. So that's well good. That's well known. And then to try to get through this video because I don't want to take too much longer. You have other places that we eventually went to, which was after we stayed in Cairo for a little while. I mean, Rahab. I was there for about only a week with my wife, and she was still there. But the brother that I knew well from Brooklyn, and he was close to me. Him and his family were looking after my wife, and she traveled with them and I had to just give the money, send the money to her to the new apartment that we officially was able to live in. That was our own, because when we were in Rahab, we were sharing an apartment with the brother and the sister and their family, because no one had their own apartment yet, because they had to go and look for it, and which the process really went fast, because that's the thing about Egyptians, not that they're crazy for money, but that's what they really look forward to when it does come to, excuse me, I'm sorry, when it does come to their attention, and you're bringing business to them, they're going to jump on it because they need money. Like anybody in the world, we know. And then, Egypt was, especially back then, was a developing nation, and they did a lot more, as we know today, but back then it was still upcoming, and so they were always struggling for business, struggling for money, and they still are today. So as we learned, when I got off the plane, one thing that it was funny to me, that I got off the plane, I was at the area where they're getting the baggage, and I was with my friend, the brother that I'm talking about, and the one guy come up to us and he's like, do you need the taxi or anything then? And we were like, no, we good, he said. And then do you have, it only costs a dollar, beautiful dollar, American dollar, something like that. So that cracked me up, because he said the beautiful American dollar. I was like, oh yeah, please, if you only knew. But they know what the importance, and they knew at that time how much it was worth, so they was trying to get it. And it was worth a pretty good amount for every Egyptian pound that you would get for exchanging the dollar. Yeah, it was pretty good back then. But what was that? So now to get into the more parts of the benefits of it, I was able to, get to find the Arabic, because that's the main basic reason why we came to Egypt. We said we decided to come to Egypt. People were telling us about that you can learn Arabic real easy, real good. They have plenty of Arabic mehads, Arabic centers, or even Quran centers. Of course, they teach you, or people, you can learn Quran from people who have Hifz of Quran, especially like imams of masjids and so forth. You can even go and sit in the masjid, and the imam will teach you, and that's how they're very open like that, and hospitable in that manner, and they do help you, and they're very helpful people. They can be sometimes hard to deal with, I would rather say, without being too insulting or anything. Because they have some of them have aggressive personalities, and to the point where they would grab you and say, hey, and but you have to put them in their place. And not to say that you have to be violent or anything, but say, excuse me, hey, take it easy. And if you learn the lingo in the Arabic, or the Armea, which is like the colloquial way of the Arabic, how they speak, it's a mixture of certain Orientalist influences of bringing different languages, but especially Arabic, of course, Arabic based, but it mixes other stuff in it, and so it changes the way they say certain words that might be Arabic derived, but it was given a little difference of a accented on it. So that's how they speak. And there's a lot of countries that have their own Armea, and some of you who learn the Arabic language, you learn about what is Armea and what is it, based, where it's based. And it's not Arabic fully, but it carries Arabic. It's like slang, pretty much like that. So if you know it, and he would say shwaya shwaya, he would say, easy, take it easy, But anyway, back to the point. You have to make sure that you get the knowledge from the people who already have established themselves there. That's the best way that you can find what you need to know about. And even today, at this time, and that's my point, at this time, things have changed from the times when I was there. So you got differences in what's going on and what's the opportunities for you to learn Arabic, to learn Quran, what's offered there. The transportation is different, it's changed, even the roads and everything is more upgraded. A lot of things got upgraded too, but also the cost of living has got upgraded. So your dollar can go pretty good because it's worth a lot, but it's going to be stretched out more with what you get, and so you got to buy things that are affordable because a lot of stuff is high priced. So that's where inflation has taken Egypt as well as other countries in the world. Global inflation is excuse me. So global inflation is all over. You know what I mean? So basically, just prepare yourself by having a no from somebody you know. That's a good way to go about it first when you make your hijrah. But I would like to, and I'm gonna finish out soon because it's been it's almost 22 minutes so far, and I don't want to go over 30 minutes for this video. I really didn't want to be that long, but residents, you have where I was reading resident visas for Egypt. And these are the visas. You need visas, like I said earlier, to get into the country and to remain in the country. Okay, so you go ahead when you come through. You can get them when you come through the gate of when you're flying in, and you got to come through the gate for the customs and so forth. You can get one before you get to the customs and get it to be able to put it on and have them in your hands, and they can put it on your they're temporary visas. They can put it on your they're like stickers anyway, and they put it on your passport, on the page of your passport. So pages get taken up as well. So eventually you have to learn that after a while you're gonna have to go and re-up on pages for your passport. Because they get stamped so much over the time, especially if you're traveling back and forth out of the country. So, and then when you have to re-up for Mugamma, you got to re-up for visas to stay from your time that the one that you had expires, and then you got to go to the Mugamma building, and you got to go there and get your new visa, more up-to-date visa, and renew it, right? Renew your visa as well as renewing your time that you're staying. So what does it say? Residence visas for Egypt is what I wanted to read from you from a site that I was looking into to give some of you guys more depth of what's going on today. So they say resident visas as of today for Egypt, if expats will be in Egypt for longer than 90 days, they will need a resident visa. This permit is also needed to work or study in the country, as you see, right? Once obtained, resident visas are renewable and issued with a validity of up to 5 years. After 10 years of continuous residence in Egypt, expats are entitled to apply for citizenship. If an expat plans to take up employment in Egypt, they will need a work permit in addition to a residence permit. Okay. And then for, just to read, so for those of you who want to work in Egypt, which I had to eventually have to do because I was going back and forth from the States and wasn't working in Egypt because I didn't have anything established yet. So and most jobs in Egypt is basically for foreigners is for teaching and teaching. If you the main type of teaching is that they're teaching English. The people there, that was the majority, even especially back then. Preference of what they wanted to learn was the English language. I was like, wow, I didn't understand that, but I got to learn and understood. And to each his own. That gets into a whole nother story. But anyway, as it says, for work permits for Egypt, the process of acquiring a work permit for Egypt can be complicated. Luckily, employers will usually take care of the bulk of the paperwork involved in the application. And when you deal with your employer, you want to deal with that employer on the ground mainly, but you can do it online, but it's better to be able to sit and see them. So you come and visit and you sit down and you establish yourself, then I would say as an advice, not to do it online and then think everything is done well. And then, especially you sending money for application fees or whatever we're paying, you got to be careful with scammers too. You got to know that this is a renowned, respectable, legitimate company or school or whatever job you're going to do there, that they're legitimate. You got to do your research, do your due diligence, as we say. And it says, because work permit applications require the participation of the expat's employer, it is not possible to obtain a work permit without a solid job offer. See? So you got to make sure that job is offered to you for sure, and you have documentation to prove that from an employer in Egypt. Before expats and their employers can begin the process of applying for a work permit, they will need to get clearance from the relevant authorities in Egypt, and the employee will need to undergo a HIV test. Wow, I didn't know about that. And what else? Applicants must submit a work permit application from along with numerous supporting documents. Once expats have secured a work permit for Egypt, it is usually valid for a year, after which it will need to be renewed. So yeah, you also want to make sure that and I would say as an advice that your employer handles that stuff, and you don't have to go through all the red tape and dealing with it. Because after you do the test, you're good. The HIV test, then you're cleared on that. But then the paperwork stuff, the supporting documentation, your job is going to ask you for what you need to give them, so they can submit all that stuff and deal with making sure your visa is valid the next year. So that's what I would advise. But that's pretty much it. I hope I did enough for you and gave you enough, into what I did and what I will, what I experienced in my hijrah to Egypt. And then, like I said earlier, I don't know if I completed what I was trying to say about the ulema and scholars saying that the hijrah might not be accepted. It might not be fully a hijrah because you don't have, what is it called, the government or the system, whether it's the ministries or whatever, that they say that you actually are able to reside there as almost like a citizen, pretty much. I don't know if it's a, clarity and bayan, or clarity that it's that you have to be a citizen in order to be considered that this hijrah is a complete hijrah, or that you have to reside there for a certain amount of time. So that's something to look into for yourself, to do your own due diligence. And if that's what you want to make focus on, your hijrah is to make sure that it's clear Islamically, then you have to do that for you. Um, some people just want to go and live in the expat life, so they may not even consider themselves making hijrah, and that's permissible. It's nothing haram about that. But for those who really want to make that clear, then you do your own due diligence and you seek out the people of Ahlul Ilm, people of knowledge that can clear that for you, inshallah. So, me, I did my thing. I did what I needed to do, and I understood my position. So the same when I do try to make hijrah again, which I'm actually have been planning to do, just need the money. And who doesn't? Most people, that's the main thing that's going to give them the ability to go and make the hijrah happen. So, but until then, I have to wait and be patient here in America, unfortunately. And I just pray that I can get out of here with my family soon, because the way things are going is not great. And many of you, I would advise the same as a Muslim. But just the fact that even if you don't live here and you live in UK, or you live in any Western country, it is very much a big importance for you to make hijrah to the Muslim lands. And of course, then to be making to Muslim lands that are going through the struggles like they are. Palestine, wouldn't expect you to do that. I wouldn't expect you to go to Syria. Wouldn't expect you to go to Sudan, and any of these Muslim countries. May Allah make it easy for our Muslim brothers and sisters in their lands, and continue to guide them and protect them from the evils of those who are doing what they're doing in those lands, and causing the evils that are harming them, especially the innocent people, children and mothers, and it's just crazy. But you go to the lands that are better developed, and they're doing better, and they don't have that, because you have to protect your family. You got to bring your family into a place where they're protected and safe. You're not going to bring your family into places unsafe, and you don't want to go there unless you're trying to make go and make a position of you're taking to help the Muslims, and you're willing to take on the sacrifice of it, and even if it's a situation that can cause you to lose your life, then that's up to you. And so you got to take precaution, and you got to know, if you have family, you're going to be leaving behind family. So you got to take a lot of, you got to make a lot of moves to do something that's going to, hold them down if you do get taken out of here. So I wouldn't suggest that at all. Go into those lands until Allah removes those struggles and those calamities or fitna that's going on, and Allah musta'an on that. But I appreciate you guys listening, and for my brother, hopefully this will help you with the people, because I pretty much did it for him to help him out with the people who want to make hijrah to Egypt, or just period, just to take from this, and that they can see, use it in other areas of making hijrah, as far as the basic generalized basis of how you should go about it, and have a plan. That's my main thing. Have a plan. Don't make maneuvers without planning, without getting enough more information while you in your homeland where you are residing at the time before you make the hijrah. Make your istikhara. That's number one too. Okay. Besides, praying on it to Allah and asking Allah to give you what you need to be able to do it financially or what have you. And and that's it. Just do those maneuvers, and hopefully they'll come through for you. And I pray that Allah guides us, protects us from the likes of the struggles that are in the lands, the Muslim lands, and when we do make them. Make us strong and make us be able to be patient when we go there, because things are going to change for your life. Your mentality is going to have to change. Your what you expect is going to have to change. You're going to have to humble yourself sometimes, and know that your life that you have in these Western modernized countries that you are living in, that is not in there in that life in those areas in those places. Even if you go to like places like Dubai, Saudi, whatever, which they are up at that scale of where we come from, but and some are even a little above because there's a lot more luxury there than even some person parts in America or UK. But but it's the culture that you have to get used to. And if you being a Muslim is easier, of course, but if you're not used to how they might still do things, you might get a culture shock. So just get prepared for that. Be patient, and make dua to Allah always. And keep it moving because this life is only temporary, and we're not here forever. So don't expect everything to be perfect in this dunya. That's it. So anyway, till next time that you might see me in Brother Talib show on YouTube. Um, you can subscribe to me and get some videos on. I talked about Hijrah To before, and it's Brother Talib or Talib Abdul Rahim on YouTube, right? And then you got Crypto B Boy, which is Crypto B Boy 6149. And if you want to learn about finance and crypto in the likes of digital assets, digital currency investments, and so forth like that. And then also precious metals. I talk a little bit about investing in precious metals and bring about a lot of stuff dealing with the geopolitical issues of finance and stuff like that. So, but anyway, it's been good. Take care. Until next time. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace and blessings.